Okay, three written forms of parabola. They're all just parabolas, but there's three ways we can write it. This is the third one, the turning point form. Oh my goodness, everything inside me wants is to say to you, here it is. And actually, I'm going to impulsively do it. The opposite of -3 is 3. And the number there, -4, is -4. And that's called the turning point. So, some people prefer to write it this way because it will automatically tell you the turning point. Question is whether it's a max or a min. This one has to be a min because we've got a 1 there and a 1 there. Everything is about positives. And when it's positive, the parabola is what we call concave up. And when it's concave up, it has a min. And I've had people say over the years, especially lady teachers, that min is a girl. We've got Minnie Mouse. And Minnie is always happy. So Min's happy all the time. There's her happy little smile. We're talking about a min. Of course, if we had Max, or as my dog at home is, Maxie, if we had Maxie Mouse, he's almost the size of a mouse. Boys are always sad, and we have a Max. There's poor Max. I won't copy my little Maxie, but he always has a sad face on him. But here we go. We have a max, we have a min. So there's not an understanding. There's just, there is the turning point. We can spend another 5 minutes on why that's a turning point. Once I look at the turning point, so I can come down to here. I like to go 1, 2, 3, down to 4. So there's the lowest point of the parabola. There's our min, which is at 3 minus 4. What else does that tell us? If that's the min, it's also the axis of symmetry. So our axis of symmetry is, some people talk about the line of symmetry, and that's x equals 3. And again, don't forget to put the x equals 3. Next thing obvious in this form about fully understanding it is what if we let the usual thing, which is x equals 0. So here we go. We let x equals 0. I'll have y equals 0 minus 3 squared minus 4. So minus 3 by a minus 3 will end up being a 9 because two negatives make a positive. Now I'm going to subtract the 4, so I end up with 5. So on this one I've got x equals 0 and y equals 5. So I can come to here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I've got 2 points on the parabola. Interesting part because of the symmetry. I've also got the point over here. There again. So really you've got enough detail to draw your parabola. By the way, go back to this being 5. If I go minus 3 by minus 3, I get 9. I'll subtract 4, I get 5. So nice shortcuts everywhere on parabolas. If x was 0, I'm going to end up with minus 3 squared, which is 9 minus 4 gives me the y-intercept. So officially we talk about let x equal 0, but you can shortcut it once you're comfortable with it. My little hint about if everything's 1, if the leading coefficient's 1, you can go across from here 1 and up 1, go across here 1 and up 1. It's not the rise over the run, it's not grading it. It just so happens to be true for parabolas. So any parabola that's written as 1x squared, it's written as 1 outside of 1x minus 5 squared, all that sort of stuff. As long as it's all 1, which is what we call a leading coefficient of 1. You have this little 1 and 1. By the way, if it was 2, instead of going up 1, it would go up 2. So there's our parabola drawn. So the advantage of, oops, missed. The advantage of writing it in this form, it tells you the turning point, and it tells you the axis of symmetry. What we haven't got at this stage is the x-intercepts. Yeah, let's go for it. So if I let y equal 0, I will have x minus 3 squared minus 4 equals 0. I talk about creatures of habit. I'd like to talk about this being the 0 here. I could have written 0 at the front, but I prefer to write 0 at the back. How do I get rid of a minus 4? If I add 4 this side, I add 4 to that side. I've got x minus 3 squared equals 4. How do I get rid of the square? I square root both sides. So I could do big square root symbols here, but I don't want to. In your head, the opposite of the square is a square root, so that's an x minus 3. And that's the square root of 4, which could be just written as 2. The big thing though, which everyone forgets, soon say everyone, lots and lots of people forget, is when you get rid of the squared, you can get a plus answer and a minus answer. A lot of people muck up on that, but that's another topic. So I got x minus 3 equals plus or minus 2. So if I add 3 to this side, I add 3 to that side, and my two answers are 2 plus 3 or minus 2 plus 3. So what have I got this time? X equals 5 or x equals 1. So I go back to my graph here. Even with a rough diagram freehand on the board, there's the x equals 5. There's x equals minus 1. There's x equals 1. I write them as coordinates, 5 0, and this one will be 1 0. And there's all your details for the parabola. Thanks.